The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area. The Chicory House Bistro at the Rink offers breakfast and lunch daily. And now a new bar upstairs inside the Garden District Bookshop, 2727 Britannia Street at Washington Avenue. Learn more at therinknola.com. Steppin Out is made possible in part by Susie and Pierre G. Villery.
It happens here each week. We step out and enjoy our region's events and rich culture.
We are proud to support WYES.
Roll camera.
I'm Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, with updates from the local restaurant, arts, and entertainment scenes. Joining me, Alfred Richard, movie critic for WWL-TV. Howdy, Alfred.
Hello there, Peggy. Hello again.
Bobby Tucker, host of Louisiana Eats on WWNO Radio. Hi.
Hello, Peg.
Hello. And making his Steppin Out debut, Claus Sadlier, founder and CEO of the brand new New Orleans Storyville Museum. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Looking forward to hearing more about it. Hey, Smason, he's back.
Back with jazz hands.
Editor, jazz hands, that's right. Editor of the Crescent City Jewish News and theatercriticism.com. Happy Rosh Hashanah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
But that's not all. Luke Fleming is with us, founder and executive director of the upcoming Crescent City Chamber Music Festival. Hello, Luke. We'll talk to you a little later. It's great to see you, too.
Great to see you.
Hello. Poppy, for fried chicken fans, this is the weekend.
This is the weekend for the National Fried Chicken Fest. And for those who don't remember, like I do, this whole thing started 8 years ago in little tiny Lafayette Square. And now it is a huge production that takes place Saturday and Sunday this weekend at the lakefront, at Lakeshore Drive at Franklin. There are over 40 restaurants participating, and there's so much more than just fried chicken. There's a margarita garden. There's a beer garden. Louisiana has a tea brew house. There are 20 vendors that'll be selling in what they're calling the merchant marketplace. And of course, there's nonstop musical entertainment and even what they call a kids' coop. And
oh, that's cute.
You know what, really?
Yeah.
And dancing entertainment, too. My group, the 610 Stompers, will going to be out there.
All right.
You go, Alfred. Well, that's going to make the event. Well, this is now truly a national event because there are participants coming in from Houston, Texas, Birmingham, Alabama, and Cleveland, Ohio. Okay, they think they got something to show us about fried chicken. So the tickets start at $20, and it's going to be great, delicious fun. But one of my favorite annual events, a tradition since 2008, when Horst and Karen Pfeiffer acquired Middendorf's in the Swamp, it's time for Oktoberfest. And of course, this takes place Wednesday and Thursday through November 7th. Look at that adorable horse. And it takes place at both locations, Manchac and Slidell. Now, there's different entrees every week. There's live accordion music from 4:30 until 8:30. And I'm talking about Wiener Schnitzel, Sauerbraten, Spätzle, Weisswurst, pretzels, and lots more things I can't pronounce. But he alternates desserts between apple strudel and black forest cake. So all I can say for everyone is get out your lederhosen and head to the swamp.
And then also Deutsches Haus, too. They're keeping pretty busy.
They are, but you know, you gotta love that horse.
Yeah.
So, yesterday was the start of Rosh Hashanah. And if you all have never celebrated any of the Jewish holidays with Emily and Alon Shaya at Saba, no matter how you identify religiously, you better get out and taste some of this deliciousness. Now, they have a special Rosh Hashanah meal, and of course, tomorrow night is going to be the last night with this Rosh Hashanah menu, but I really want that pomegranate braised lamb shank. That sounds delicious. And then October is such a huge month for Jewish food holidays. It's Yom Kippur on October 11th and 12th, when he's going to be serving duck matzo ball soup and salmon malawak. And then that's going to be followed directly by Sukkot from October 16th through the 23rd, when he's going to have mujara stuffed squash with whipped feta fondue. And of course, don't forget Hanukkah at Saba, because this has been going on since Elan started at Dominica downtown. And so from December 25th through January 2nd, make those reservations now for Hanukkah. And last of all, there's a benefit going on. Creole Cuisine Cares, their second annual gala, is coming up on Wednesday, October the 16th at Broussard's Restaurant. 100% of the proceeds goes into providing food, shelter, and clothing to those in need in our community. And bravo to Marv Amari. He's such a generous man.
Whipped feta fondue. I'm just processing that.
Oh, I'm telling you,
Sounds great.
that Jewish holiday food at Saba is for all us Catholic girls, too.
That's
Peg.
right. That's right. Thank you so much. And Alfred, the film festival is coming up.
That's right, and for us Catholic boys as well as too. You know, it's still hard to believe that the film festival, you were talking about how the Chicken Festival has grown to be such a huge thing. The New Orleans Film Festival has grown to be an internationally well-renowned film festival. 12 Years a Slave, for example, some years ago was debuted here, and it made it on its run to the Oscars. And so this is now, we can say this, the 35th annual Oscar qualifying New Orleans Film Festival, and it runs from October 16th through the 27th. And one of the great things about the fest is that you can attend it in person at several venues around the city. But of course, thanks to our good friend COVID some years ago, we wound up having to do a virtual New Orleans Film Festival, where you can now purchase films and other ways of seeing them. For example, there are 250 plus filmmakers who'll be coming to this area, with over 150 films being shown, and 6 New Orleans Film Festival 2024 venues. So you have many different places and different choices of seeing it. One of the films that I'm really wanting to see is a film called A King Like Me. Now, one of the first things I ever did in video work with the New Orleans Public Schools was a documentary about the Zulu organization. And what I learned from them about how Zulu started as a ragtag group, but then it's grown to be an internationally renowned group. It's more than just the Coconuts. It's more than just the Zulu warriors and such. There's a whole history. Ranging from people such as the late Sybil Morial, who was a part of the Zulus. And of course, you had a whole African-American culture in New Orleans developing around Zulu there. And the King Like Me is the opening night feature. And that will be Wednesday, October 16th at 7 p.m. at the Orpheum Theater. All I can say is I think Louis Armstrong would be amazed at seeing how big Zulu has grown, and that a film such as that is available. So now, I've tempted you with that. How to attend the festival? Well, you can purchase an all-access pass. Now, you can become a member of the New Orleans Film Society, and the Film Society members' pass is $300. For the general public, it's $350. But if you want to go and attend the Film Fest, you can go to neworleansfilmsociety.org, and you can purchase a pass, a 6-film pass, where you can see different films, whether it be in person or virtually. So you can sit in the comfort of your home and eat popcorn, or you can go into a theater and eat popcorn. I'd say go and watch it on the big screen. That's a plug if there's anything. And besides that film, one of the others I'm looking forward to is American Grail. Has nothing to do with Monty Python and the Holy Grail, but it has to do with the quest for the ivory-billed woodpecker. And researching about this was a woodpecker that many people considered a ghost bird, wondering, is this bird extinct? Well, you will find out that this documentary is part of a short series that is going to be available of different films. The short series is called Flora and Fauna, and that will be on Saturday, October 19th, starting at 7 p.m. at the Broad Theater. So you'll be able to see films about music and jazz, birds, and whether or not they're alive or not. It is something for everybody. There are animated features, there are documentaries of all types and such. You never know. You may find a documentary about food, in New Orleans.
Thank you so much, Alfred. And Claus, what we always can use is a new museum and a new way of looking at different aspects of New Orleans history. This was really, with no pun intended, a passion project of yours, huh?
Yes, it really was. It was something I had born and raised in New Orleans, had moved away for a number of years and came back and actually got my home in the French Quarter. And just being immersed in the culture and, knowing about Storyville growing up here, but really not knowing as much as I gained a lot of knowledge and information, and it was just a story that needed to be told. And surprisingly, there wasn't a museum dedicated to it. And it's really not just a story of, Storyville, but it's a story of the history of New Orleans, sort of the sinful history of New Orleans. So it has a little bit of a twist to it.
Well, I think you intertwine a lot of the culture. I've been there, and 7,000 square feet, it's fairly large. But I like the way you incorporate the music. A lot of early New Orleans jazz pioneers played at Storyville, including Jelly Roll Morton, which is amazing. But also you talk about, and the photos, Balak, and incredibly, the location of your museum on Conti is, what is it, right next door to, you picked that up.
It's really, I mean, it was one of those things where everything came together. So Belloc's family home, Belloc, of course, is the famous photographer that was a commercial photographer, but he had a hobby of documenting women of Storyville. His home was right next to the museum. And it turned out years later, it also became the home of Norma Wallace.
The last madam. Yes. So location. Right. But I also feel that everything is done respectfully, because this would be a topic that would be something that would, we have to deal with very realistically and in a poignant way. That is an understatement. But the different aspects of the history itself, and you've got holograms. You really, for 21st century audiences, you have to do all kinds of things, and you did.
Yeah, we tried to really make it immersive. So it really tells the story, but then we illustrate the points using, we have a setup of an old saloon, which would have been sort of the 1800s New Orleans, which was the gambling capital of America. A lot of people, this before when Las Vegas was probably just a pile of sand.
And there were saloons there, and the Blue Book. Here we're talking about the Belloc photos.
So we have displayed the Belloc photos. So this was, there are 56 photos that were found after he died. The glass plates were recovered, thankfully, and were basically produced and held at the Museum of Modern Art in New York.
I like that you have it wasn't Belloc's camera, but you have the kind of camera he used, which was very cumbersome.
It was, yes.
And as you said, he lived there too. Tell us about these machines. This is
so we also have so again to kind of really bring people back into what it would have felt like. We were able to find peep show machines that they would have used in Storyville. And they were actually stereoscopic back when talking about the Film Society.
Oh my goodness.
Back in the early days. So that one of those is actually a card flipper. So it would flip the card. So it, like you used to do in school on a notepad.
Yes.
You're right. But it's funny because they're supposed to be peep show machines, but they're very tame. I understand.
All right. Well, so you were open Thursday through Mondays, and Conti, and this is right off Rampart.
Right. It's right into the French Quarter, first block into the French Quarter on Conti. And people can find out more information at nolastoryville.com.
Yeah, and right around the corner, our friend Carl Mack has this mini Mardi Gras museum right on Rampart, so you can sort of double your pleasure on that too.
Wow.
But welcome, I'm so glad you're able to do this. And that you're back, you're a committed Orleanian, which we love that too, so thank you. And over to Luke. Luke, congratulations. My goodness, the Crescent City Chamber Music Festival is about to happen, and I'm just amazed how generous you are with these free concerts. But one of your longtime goals has been to do the Brahms's Brandenburg Concertos, and I think we'll hear a little bit under while we talk. What a feat! 2 nights, all of them. Tell us about that.
Sure. Well, the opening 2 concerts of this season on October 10th and 11th at Trinity Episcopal Church will feature the complete Brandenburg Concertos of Johann Sebastian Bach. We're splitting it into 2 concerts. There's 6 concertos total, so 3 one night and 3 the other. It's especially for a chamber music organization, we're used to presenting concerts involving 4 to 7 people. To do the Brandenburg Concertos involves something around 30 musicians.
Oh my goodness.
So it's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
Each concerto is for a different kind of combination of solo and chamber musicians. Just coordinating the rehearsals and the flights and everything, and we're bringing together a lot of organizations, the Manhattan Chamber Players, members of the Louisiana Philharmonic Orchestra, and other New Orleans freelance classical musicians. So
now that's the 10th and 11th, and that's at Trinity, because you're all over town, we should point out.
Correct.
And we're in our time, we're going to highlight a few of the 7. We can't do all 7, but you can go to the website, of course, for that. And then we'll move on the 14th with the Manhattan Chamber Players with Smason. And tell us about that one, too.
Well, so in order to do the second Brandenburg Concerto, you need a trumpet player. And so we have a trumpet player coming in, a wonderful trumpet player in the Manhattan Chamber Players. And we decided if we're bringing him in for that, we've got to keep him around. So he's performing on the 14th at Dixon, Saint-Saëns septet for trumpet, strings and piano, and also Shostakovich's concerto for piano, trumpet, and chamber strings. So those 2 pieces are featured on that concert, as well as a piece written last year by a composer named Seth Grosshandler. So that'll be a real interesting concert.
And we should point out that the Full Circle Smason will be at Dixon Hall, where you are within that, right behind you, as a matter of fact. Very good. And then now the Griffin Trio is making its debut.
Correct. Yeah, none of the 3 of them have ever been to New Orleans for any reason, tourist or otherwise. So they're very excited to see the city, but also to make their professional debut here. They're really kind of the biggest piano trio in Canada right now, multiple award-winning, and lots of Junos, which is basically the Canadian Grammy for classical musicians. And they're friends of mine from a long time, and I've been trying to get them down here for a long time. We actually were supposed to bring them last year, but they had a visa issue, so we had to pivot at the last minute. But we've got it taken care of this year, and they'll be making their debut.
And they're playing for 2 events, and one of them, I love that, is the brewery, as we just mentioned, and then also in a little bit more formal setting at Rain Memorial. So it's, as I said, very helpful to go through the website because it explains where everything is. Yeah. And what I also like is that year-round you all do a lot of community outreach concerts, and I think we're going to show a scene from St. Philip Neri. That's a wonderful thing. Tell us a little bit more about that aspect of what you do.
Well, the first places I started playing concerts, actually, with parents who were, and a lot of family members who were in the ministry, was in hospitals and nursing homes when we would go on calls and that sort of thing, like when I was just starting to play the viola. And it became something very close to my heart because it affects the performers, but also, of course, the people listening in such a profound way, to have someone come and play for them, and then also to play for young kids. I started playing the viola through a public school strings program right here in Louisiana. So it's, again, very close to my heart to perform for these kids, and they're just so fascinated by it, and very often I feel as though it inspires them to at least delve into the idea of doing it themselves. And we do that throughout the course of the festival, But then we also intermittently throughout the year do this outreach work in the city under the umbrella of Crescent City Chamber Music Festival.
Now, we should point out, Luke, you're talking a lot about free, but if you go to the website, I'm sure there must be opportunities for giving, and we'll let people follow up with that because it helps to make things possible. But congratulations. I know this is something you're very dedicated to. You lived for many years in New York, and you went to Juilliard. Very proud of you, but you're back in New Orleans. I mean, you do travel around to perform, of course, but that means a lot.
Oh, yeah. I came back here full-time in 2020, right after the pandemic, and I don't regret it for a second. I live 5 blocks from my mother, and it's the city I was born in.
Okay, we like that, too. Thank you so much. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
And he truly is back.
Yes,
Alan,
yes.
It's been a while, you know?
Well, I'm glad to be back. Ricky Graham, of course, the king of New Orleans comedy, is beginning what is going to be a very busy theater season for him with the comedy Murder for Two. He's directing a two-hander, which is going to be starring the New Orleanian Max Duvall as Officer Marcus Moskowitz. Now, that sounds very Jewish, doesn't it? And Mark Shenfish, who plays all the other suspects. It's Murder for Two. Both of them play piano throughout the 90-minute comic romp. It opens tomorrow night and runs through October the 20th at Le Petit. And of course, I recommend everybody go check that out. Ricky Graham production, if you will, direction there at Le Petit. And you check out the tickets between now and October the 20th. Across the river in Westwego, at the newly reopened Westwego Performing Arts Theater, there is another similar kind of mystery going on. That's the local premiere of Clue. And it just played, if you remember, a few months ago at the Sanger. Jack Lambert is directing this 11-member cast that includes a local cast of characters playing out the roles of Colonel Mustard, Miss Scarlet, Mrs. White, Mr. Green, Mrs. Peacock, and Professor Plum. And for those who love a mystery theater dinner option, there is going to be a dinner and a show on October the 12th, next Saturday night. Of course, unless you happen to be Jewish and fasting and praying like me, in case that's not Clue, C-L-U-E, it's J-E-W, Jew. So we have to worry about that. If I can recommend a show, though, Peggy, that is coming up, even though you probably have no idea, some of you, who this is, please take a moment to consider taking out an hour and a half to go check out and enjoy Dorothy Parker at the National World War II Museum at BB's Stage Door Canteen. Dorothy Parker, of course, was the acerbic-tongued writer and flamboyant figure who coined such literary gems as "Men don't make passes at girls who wear glasses." A member of the renowned Algonquin table, she would go toe-to-toe with any of the other literary giants. And this show, which is directed by Diana Shortez, has all new references to World War II. It's a brand new show in a sense. It only plays for 3 shows this weekend. I strongly urge everybody. It's going to be coming up next weekend, October the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th. And if you get a chance, go check that out. And for those of you who want to learn a little bit more about Dorothy Parker, coming up this Monday night, the actor playing her, Claudia Baumgartner, will be joining me this next Monday on the NOLA Theater Talk Show, where she and her director, Diana Shortez, will be my guests. You can follow that online on the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group, the theatercriticism.com Facebook page, and my own YouTube channel. Meanwhile, Lance Nichols and his wife Zardis are producing a stage reading of Jen Silverman's Bridge in the Distance. It's a play that deals with the struggle for civil rights in the Deep South. You can see the Edmund Pettus Bridge noted there. Directed by Lauren Turner Hines, the stage readings are there, 2 of them on October 26th and 27th, are both free at the Andre Calou Center for Performing Arts and Cultural Justice on Bayou Road. And speaking of free, there are free showings for The Moors by Jen Silverman. It's a Victorian England set play about feminists, the women who are way before their time. It's directed by Madison Smith, an MFA candidate. That's why it's free. The Moors plays this week and continues next weekend as well. But it's not free, but it may be priceless. If you're interested in seeing and hearing some wonderful classical performances, the Louisiana Philharmonic Orchestra is just what you need. And just like modern trains, they're doing it without a conductor. Concertmaster Alexander Proussel is welcoming everyone tomorrow night to the Orpheum Theater to enjoy an evening of eclectic works by Mozart, Mozart, Haydn, and Johann Strauss, the Waltz King. And violist Antoine Tamested will also be featured. And the two of them will be holding a pre-concert talk about the works at 6:30. That's 1 hour before the concert begins at 7:30 p.m.
Very good. Thank you so much. Time for Picks of the Week, Poppy.
Well, as you can tell, it's that time, Halloween. And at the Black Lagoon Halloween pop-up is coming back. These are scary cocktails down at Anna's in the Marigny, October 9th through November 3rd. And then Toop's Family Meal is seeking donations, delivery drivers, and support for their first annual pumpkin drive happening this Saturday. They're going to be providing 500 pumpkins to kids in need.
All right. Thank you, Alfred.
Well, one of the great things, I've had the opportunity of performing with Claudia Baumgardner and, of course, these great people, Phil and Heidi Melanson. They are going to be performing at the Monkey Hill Bar. Phil Melanson's Harold Arlen show, the music of the Wizard of Oz. And so you'll get a chance. You can purchase the tickets at 504-202-0986 or reach them at Melanson's, all one word there, at gmail.com.
Thank you, Alan.
Well, all ABBA fans, get your money, 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 and your Dancing Queen shoes on. Get tickets to the Cutting Edge Theater's performance of Dinah and the Dominoes. That's an ABBA night of music in Slidell on Saturday, November the 2nd. Look at the cast of local performers. Lisa Piccone Love, Jonathan Drury, Ashley Smetherman-Lemler, and Trina Beck singing the Swedish Quartet's favorites through the night. There's no doubt they'll be selling out, so don't be left defeated like Waterloo. Say, gimme, 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 and I'll see you at the theater.
Thank you. And very quickly, my picks. Gretna Fest, Friday through Sunday, includes 60 bands such as Dierks Bentley, Amanda Shaw, Morris Day and Time, and Louis Prima Jr. Also, food and crafts. Art for Art's Sake gallery openings will take place this Saturday evening from 5 to 9 p.m. And it's the 300 to 600 blocks of Julia and the surrounding area. Also, Ferrera Gallery. Don't check them out, too. Lots of galleries and museums. On Wednesdays in October, evenings with Enrique. Concerts in the Sculpture Garden within the City Park's Botanical Garden starting at 5:30. And this week, it's the guitarist bandleader Jeovan Santos. Bring chairs. And this Thursday, starting at 6 p.m., Poppy and I will discuss the local dining scene and food in Tennessee Williams Plays. Our event is called Cocktails and Conversation. It's a fundraiser for Tennessee Williams. And so go to TennesseeWilliams.net for more information. Very limited number of tickets available. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you all. Good night.
Programming on WYES is made possible in part by Susie and Pierre G. Villery.
Public television is our passion. With so much content that WYES broadcasts and presents online, we are quite entertained and highly informed.
Please join us in supporting WYES.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area. The Chicory House Bistro at the Rink offers breakfast and lunch daily. And now a new bar upstairs inside the Garden District Bookshop, 2727 Britannia Street at Washington Avenue. Learn more at therinknola.com.